welcome to Project You, Project Me, Removing Fear. And what we're trying to do at the moment is try to give you more information on our partners. So yes, you turn up the online shows, you turn up at the transition days, but actually if you already know a little bit about them, then you're going to be able to decide which direction to go in a lot earlier. And all of our businesses are fantastic. And today we have CXC, one of our first partners and our platinum partner. And we'll go on and through this about some of the success rates we've had. But first of all, we've got John and Nat. So first of all, John, tell me a little bit about yourself, your where you've come from, your personal life, where you grew up, that kind of stuff in a couple of minutes.
Hi, John. Thanks for having us on. So John, or JC as I get called. So I've been in CXC now, crikey, almost 6 years to the day. And I joined this company as the first civilian to join CXC, but came in as a consultant, project manager, and I've just progressed up since then, took on the business development role a few years back, and now I head up our capability growth pillar as a member of the board. So I've had a pretty good time. Prior to that, I jumped around MOD as a civil servant and progressed up through the ranks, did most of the top level budgets, but I've spent, 25 years now working in defence, working alongside the armed forces. So I've got a reasonable understanding of the different services, trade groups, CAT badges, the capabilities, the culture, more importantly, the red tape and bureaucracy that we generally face in defence and government. But that's kind of me. Married, got 3 kids. Should have stopped at 1, but they're great, really. Got quite a positive outlook on life. And try to have as good a time as possible. But yeah, that's probably me in a bit of a nutshell.
Fantastic, fantastic. And it's brilliant for everybody watching because we've actually got the people who will grab hold of you and get you into the business and get you hired sitting with us today, which is something that we don't see in some areas within transition. There's a lot of people try to they'll turn up at live shows and things like that, but it's not the actual hirer. It's not the person that's going to make the decision, that kind of stuff. So it's important to have those people with us. And same question to you, really, Nat. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hello, so I'm Natalie. I'm probably the first point of contact when anyone comes to speak to CXC. So yeah, it's good to have me on here, so you'll see my face before you get in contact with me. I have been with CXC for almost 3 years now, so 3 years in April, so half the time that John's been with CXC. My role is kind of to manage external recruitment, so that's why I'm the first person you'll probably come along and speak to. Background, pretty much recruitment, so I did go to university and then ended up in recruitment. It wasn't always the plan, but I'm still here. Gosh, too many years now, 20 odd years down the line. No, can't be that long. Yeah. Anyway, far too long than I want to recall. So where have I spent some time? So previous to this role, I spent some time in government, which kind of led on to this role within CXC. Previous to that, spent some time in councils and also spent some time in some retail organisations. I do at the moment work semi-part-time-ish, pretty much all week, 4.5 days a week, but I will be going full-time in September. Outside of work, I have 2 fairly young children, so a 9-year-old and a soon-to-be 4-year-old to keep me busy outside of work. And what else do I like to do outside of work? Definitely not cooking. Gym is my thing. Keeping fit is my thing. Shopping is my thing. I'm doing so well.
No, you're too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a little bit about me.
So you guys are real. So for everyone watching, you've got some real people here. Everybody in business outside of the military are real people. Just so if you are still in the military, you think they're all robots. It's not, it's real people. And Nat, so you're the person who Mandy, our group business manager, comes to with all of the people what we believe that will suit CXC, and then you kind of go through the process with them and where they go from there. So that connection is actually vital and it's working. So some statistics that we have and which you sent through show a very healthy amount of people coming through. Again, just about in 3 figures now. Coming through, and around about 10% who come straight from us directly actually go through all the phases and get a job, which is massive.
Yeah.
But there is all kinds of different, as John kind of was speaking to me about before, different levels of which they're all going to get to, second phase, third phase, them kind of things. And of course, some people might not want to work for CXC, but they're all growing in their confidence when they interview with you guys. And I know you do a lot of work as well, making sure that they do go off on the right career direction. So realistically, as John alluded to before, around about 30% probably are successful who come through CXC from FTG.
Yeah, I think so, because this is very much why we sort of got our gold Armed Forces Covenant. As a small business, that was a huge achievement for us. I mean, specifically, as I said, Nat spoke with 100 and something service leavers. Probably it's closer to 200, I think, per year. But as a company, we probably briefed 10 to 15% of all service leavers on an annual basis, because we either do that through FTGs or other presentations.
Yeah.
And that journey from first contact through to Natalie's brief, through to sort of the interview phase that I'll give with either my head of delivery or the account managers, all of that's about helping the guys and girls work out what they want to be, right? And many of them through those stages, you're right, will go, actually, this isn't the right career path for me, but I get it now. I know what questions I've got to ask. I know where I've got to go. And we'll send them off with a bit of help, right? So they've come through it, they've taken some value for it, and they'll feel like they've got something positive out of it. The remainder then, you're right, they now work out what on earth we do and what they want to do. And if the two align, we'll bring them through to that last stage. And you're right, based on that stat, we're probably bringing about 30% of those in.
Yeah.
So doors always open to help, and the brief that Nats give is all about us just trying to point you in the right direction. It's not a sale, it's this should help you work it out.
Yeah, and I think that's really special as well, because that guidance creates that ownership for them to move forward. And it may well be away from CXC, but because you're giving them that guidance, you're probably changing one hell of a lot more lives than you actually think.
Hope so.
That's why we love working with companies like yourself, and you come to all of our events, and it's fantastic, including Seagulls, everybody. So we've had Seagulls on our event from one show we did with John, but not sure how they got in your house.
Car alarms as well, wasn't it? We've had car alarms, Seagulls.
Car alarms, Seagulls, everything. It's all happening. It's all real, guys. It's all real. But for people who perhaps are new to transition, haven't really heard too much about any business, because we all know lots of names. We know, for example, what Amazon is. We know the name of Amazon. We know what Asda is, British Airways, but we don't know what happens inside them. So what is CXC, and what actually happens in CXC?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually, because you're right, most people sort of ask about what the company is and try to work out what they want to be. But yeah, for those that make it through and actually start with the company, what's the journey look like? I mean, we're recruiting consultants, okay? And I hammer this definition home all the time, Natalie does as well, right? People choose to become consultants through our path, right? It's their choice. They're going to work out what it is they want to consult in, skill set, the clients they want to consult with, and it's going to be for a period of time. So therefore, the people that join us are going to be moving from our clients to different clients to different clients, all within the scope of different clients we work with. And we've probably got over 150 different stakeholders we support. Yeah. That could be big four, large companies, right through to sort of small businesses or direct into clients. But on a day-to-day basis, right, they've had the offer from us, fantastic. We're going to bring them through sort of a commitment and transition phase at that point. So we're trying to make them feel part of the family. They'll obviously get their IT issued to them, expenses we start to take on. They'll come in for induction days and transition days, and it's normally with other new starters as well. But take them out for dinner, we'll put them up in a hotel, we'll get to know them, and they get to know us as well. A lot of it is virtual. So after those sort of face-to-face transition and induction days, actually after that, we've got a series of tools we use, online tools, chat functions, etc. We're actually, the whole company operate in this virtual bubble where there's funnies and pictures and help, when guys are starting new roles. Has anyone got a business case for this client? 20 people jump in. Yep, did one for them last year. Here's a template I used. It's a Friday message, birthday shout outs go out on it. So although the team might be working disparately, in some areas, there'll be small pockets of the team working together, or we might have bid on something and won it successfully and therefore put a team in it. You're operating as a consultant. So you're out there jumping from client to client, but with this sort of force looking after you, where you've got a family stood behind you, doing all your commercial stuff on your behalf, making sure that you've got someone to sort of talk to, the questions you can ask, the guidance that we'll give you. And then, of course, we bring them in for the AGM every year, which is basically get together, have a lovely meal, try not to drink too much and stay awake for the AGM the next day. The summer function, which is, yeah,
fun.
that was good.
Have a look at our LinkedIn.
Yeah,
there's two pictures from the summer function.
That's right. And then the kind of famous Christmas do, which is normally a sort of 5-star hotel somewhere for a long weekend. That's what we call a partner weekend. So it's a chance for the staff to bring their other halves along with them, for us to kind of say thank you. You've put up with us as a company, sending your other half all over the place. We want to give something back. So the family package and the training and all of that support, I think that's probably what makes us stand out, and it's normally where our positive reputation comes from.
Yeah. So a consultant, so just for the people who probably are struggling to understand what a consultant is, a consultant itself goes out to a business, given to a business by you. They then go in, fix a problem, solve a problem, whatever that company wants, and then would they come back to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So those, we're going to be finding those roles and those opportunities for them. They could be with work that we've already secured, or we may win new work with them. But they're shaping the choice in there, okay, about the skill set and locations and so on. We have to kind of balance needs of the business with needs of the individual, and sometimes we don't always hit it right. And if we do get it wrong, we'll always work to bring them back somewhere where they want to be. We don't want people to be suffering in the company at all. But you're right, those breaks in between contracts, that's where effectively they're looked after by the company.
Yeah, fantastic.
There's a timeline we work to, which actually from starting the kind of, filling your CV out, you've got about 8 months of full security from the company. And you know what? Our average getting people into roles, worst case, is about 3. So it's pretty good. We're pretty good at what we do.
Yeah, fantastic. And Nat, what are you looking for from a service leaver? Now, I know this is probably quite an open-ended question, but what are some of the specifics, easy for me to say, that you're looking for as the person who's going to grab someone first?
So we measure everyone against a 4-box matrix, and I go through this in our stage 2 presentation. The first thing is skill set. What skill set does someone actually have?
Okay.
Have they got the qualifications? Are they working towards qualifications? I know lots of people come and speak to us and say, I've got courses booked in 2 months' time. Great, that's perfect. You don't need to wait until you've done the courses to come and have a chat with us. So we're happy for people to come and have a chat with us, very early on in that transition process. Actually, one of the few companies that will always say to people, the earlier the better. So that's a kind of key message from CXC. The earlier you come and talk to us, the better, because that means we've got more time to talk to you, more time to work with you, etc. The second thing is marketability of that skill set. And John always says, your skill set might be a dolphin trainer. Well, in the defence and government world, that's not very marketable. But lots of people do come to us with kind of that project management skill set, business change, service management, and they're marketable into our client spaces. The next thing is our cultural fit. We do kind of try to understand whether someone's going to fit with us culturally. We are quite a family feel organisation. Are they going to want to go back into defence clients, or if they have absolutely had enough of, being in the military, and the last thing that they want to do is, walk into MOD building, then they might not be the right type of individual for us, given, most of our work is in those spaces. And then any risk factors that we think we might face. There are a few people that we speak to, they aren't able to travel at all. They might live up in, the Scottish Highlands, and, they want a job 5 minutes down the road. They're not going to be right for us. It's not going to fit our profile. Or, a risk might be that someone's security clearance has lapsed. We need to kind of have a think about how we're going to go around working on that to get that back in place for them to be out into a role. So those are the kind of 4-box criteria that we're looking for. I think the key thing is people who are adaptable, people who are willing to learn, and people that want to work with us. I think most of the people join CXC because they love the family values of CXC, and I think that's really key, is that you're invested in that kind of family feel of the company.
Yeah, I love that about you guys. I know a lot of people who work within CXC who I would have known from my time. And you don't ever really hear anything bad about it, and you've got to, people will very, very quickly tell you if it's bad, because that's with an ex-forces or veteran person. They'll, very few people tell you the good stuff. It's always the bad
and
stuff.
it's a small world.
It is. It is. That's the power of the veteran. It's actually why the military perhaps struggles to retain and recruit, because the power of the veteran has taken over. People listen to what people are saying about what it's like in there and what it's like to leave, and how, so that's for me where the change should come. But that's another conversation. But interesting, you mentioned cultural change there, and the cultural piece. I actually had a person spoke to me and said, is that actually a thing this morning in a one-to-one session? Do business actually really look at that, and should I be looking at that? And I'm saying absolutely you should. That may be why people leave jobs early, because if the culture is not right, then you're going to be very, very quick to leave. So it's interesting to get that through. So it's interesting to hear about those areas you're talking about. But I wanted to ask you a specific question, because we always get this, and I know, John, something that you always want to answer. The qual, the Prince 2, the Scrum, the Agile, the APM, what are we talking about here? And does it actually really matter? And what's best for what you're doing? What's your angle on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take what sort of Nat was saying about that 4-box model we assess against, right?
Yeah.
Skills versus marketability for me. When I kind of came up with the concept of it, skills was those measurable elements, right? A tick in the box. Marketability was about, as Nat said, can I market the skills, but how marketable is the individual, not the brand of the person I'm talking to? Like, qualifications for me are having a tick in the box can be a means to an end.
Yeah.
Certainly in consultancy. It's quite often that first review of your CV, in consultancy land, we're pushing CVs all over the place to our clients. Chances are it could be, a recruiter who doesn't have a background in project management or cybersecurity or network architecture. They could have come straight out of school or retail sector, moved into recruitment. They have a tick list to work to, and if the tick list says must be Prince 2 qualified, they're looking for a Prince 2 qualification, and they will put you in the bin if you don't have it.
Yeah.
That's the means to an end piece. I'd always recommend, as my CV says, it says I'm trained in Prince 2, Agile, Scrum, APM, PMQ. I haven't done any of the qualifications in any of them, right? But I'm trained in them. I've done the courses, I've read the material, I understand them, and I can deliver them.
Yeah.
So, always worth spending learning credits on getting the right qualifications, because it's a tick in the box and a means to an end for an initial sift. But, and here's the key but, right? Marketability, your approach, your professionalism, your get stuff done attitude, the fact that I want you to come in and take my problem away, will always stand out head and shoulders above qualifications and skills.
Yeah.
The amount of people we have put in front of our clients and they've gone, do you know what? We want this person because they've just come across so well. We can see them on the team. They're going to just get it done. We'll put them for a qualification later. So skills marketability for me, I'm always going to pick the person I think is going to be a better driven fit for the company. I can develop skills. I can't develop personalities. And
also, just to add something, as part of our package, we do offer an education allowance. So if someone is missing a key skill, once they sign terms and conditions with us, they're eligible to use that education allowance. So we can say, right, well, actually, if you want to go out there and be a project manager, we probably think you might, the way things are going, you might need an agile course. We'll use that funding to put you on the agile course, so you can use that money, and that's renewed yearly as well.
Fantastic. And it kind of leads us into, we've managed to get the government to give us a funded course for free. It doesn't give you specifics in Scrum, Agile, Prince 2, or anything like that. What it does is it teaches you how to be a project manager. So actually, when you then get these qualifications, you already know what a project manager is, you know the process, because a lot of military people have done some, but not all. So they probably wouldn't have done profit and loss. They wouldn't have done too much change. They wouldn't have done too much risk management in certain areas. So we have a course now that they can do whilst they're serving, because they're changing jobs, they're leaving the military, which is completely free, which is kind of a bit of a bolt on to then getting the specific qual as well. So that's, you know, that's quite interesting what you said there. And
I think it's also useful to do a course like that to understand what a project manager actually does as well, and whether that's what you want to
exactly
do
that,
day to day.
exactly that, because I speak to people all the time. I'm going to be a project, what in? Well, what do you mean? And all of a sudden you can tell that they're confused because they're following what everyone else has said.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
really need to understand what it is. And because it's free, it gives you the ability to realize that's what I want to do or don't. And you don't pay any money. You know, and you can do it whilst you're still in the military, which is even more key. And it kind of brings us on to the last two things. These are questions that everyone always asks. Now, I don't expect you to give the perfect answer to salary, or the perfect answer to location, but what would be the kind, if we can give some kind of brackets of locations people may go to, and the kind of salary ranges that we're looking at for consultants, things like that.
Can you do salary or do locations?
Yes, absolutely. So we do have a salary bracket, and I'm always really transparent about this on our stage 2 call as well, because you know, I want to manage people's expectations from the start. I don't want to put people through the whole process, you know, not waste people's time, but use their time, use our time to get to the end, and actually, you know, we're not in the right space for them. So we do have a bracket which is 40 to 60 with an extensive benefits package on top. We talk a lot about this in the stage 2 presentation about the types of companies that are out there. You know, I don't want to talk negatively about any other companies, so I'm not going to point fingers, but you know, you tend to find the larger companies are going to pay you lots of money. But actually what you'll find is that you're probably doing, you know, I've spoken to people, these types of people, they're doing 60, 70 hours a week. As a company, we're not expecting you to do that. So it's about finding that right balance and the right type of company for you. So I completely understand that we're not paying the most in the market, not paying the least, but it's about understanding you're going to get that kind of family feel. You're going to, you know, you'll be doing 37.5 hours a week. You've got a group of people that are there to support you. So it's about finding what's right for you as an individual.
Absolutely, that stability is everything. You know, if you look at wage sizes, 40 or 60K is a pretty good wage. When I left the military, I was on 25. I left on 60 and I ended up on 25. So you know, I went to the wrong place, didn't I? I should have been knocking on John's door. But
that benefits package, John, you know, it's probably worth about an extra 20K. I think we worked it out at, because it's got the full TNS in it, healthcare, training budget, the, you know, EV policy. You can have a car if you like, and we'll pay your mobile phone. And
wow.
we started to add it all up. You get more money in your pocket with the offer that we have, rather than just offering you loads of money and you're getting taxed on it. But we also don't take the mick out of our team. If they're out generating for us and generating far more than the figures we've based our salary assumptions on, proactively we'll increase salaries to match that. It never goes down, but we don't take the mick out of our team. We're quite transparent about that.
Yeah, when do I start? It sounds great to me.
You've got to grow a beard first, John.
I can't do that. I've never been able to grow one in my life. But I'm sure, you know, Nat, where's your beard gone? But
I'm part of the internal team, so we don't need beards.
Locations, John.
Yeah, location wise, I mean, we've always said we're location agnostic. That's partly true, right? Nat touched on this earlier. If you live in the Outer Hebrides and you want to work in Bristol, but you want to commute daily, it's just not going to work. A lot of our defence and government clients are east and west of M4 corridor, okay? You know, Bristol, Corsham, Swindon, London. We have got a footprint further south where you've got the sort of, you know, the naval footprints, etc. And we have got a bit of a footprint, you know, more up into the north. We've got some guys up in Scotland at the minute, or, you know, Lincoln, places like that. But there's got to be a balance there about what we've got available versus the needs that our guys and girls have got.
Yeah.
We'll always ask that question, what do you want to do and how do you want to do it? But as I said, we've got to work out whether the two, what we can offer and what people want, align. And if we find that sweet spot and we get it right, fantastic. Over COVID, didn't really matter because everyone was working from home. There is a bit of a push to bring people back to client sites. So we're just trying to be as transparent about that as possible.
again, something that we cover as well on that stage 2 call. And, you know, I have quite honest conversations with people, like, you know, ask them where they're based and what's their ability to like to travel. You know, would they want to be away a few nights a week? Or, you know, if they've got partners at home that are expecting, right, you've left the military now, I want you home every evening helping out with the kids. Or, you know, so, and other people on the flip side are, you know, yes, I want you out the door Monday to Friday because I can't stand you being here 24/7. So we'll have those conversations with people as well on the calls.
Yeah, sounds like my wife. She'd be like, yeah, get out that door.
Get out.
Get out that door. It's interesting to say people are going back to work. I hear a lot of that now. And I think people actually want to go to work. It's not just the businesses want them back. I think
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that we speak to as well, they like to be out. You know, you're used to being in social situations, you're used to working in teams, working with other people. So a lot of them do like to be working on site, you know, at least kind of 2-3 days a week.
Well, I miss it big time. There's nothing better than going out and doing shows and things, because you just get back into that normal routine with people, and it's the best.
Looking at our kitchens.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. Well, for those who are watching as well, to get in touch with CXC, clearly you can speak to Nat direct, and John, link in with them. But of course, there's an inquiry form. When you're watching this video, you can inquire straight in and give them a little bit of detail about where you would like to see your future, whether you think you would be a fit within their business, that kind of stuff. And I'm sure they will then get back to you. And of course, Mandy, if you come through our CV sessions, we'll also put you through, should you be relevant and want to go into that kind of world, straight through to Nat. But guys, you know, it's an absolute pleasure to do this podcast with you. And it's also an absolute pleasure to have you on board as our #1 and platinum company, and long may that continue, so we can continue creating that pathway that's being successful, and hopefully together, because that's what it's all about, we can solve transition in the end. But thanks so much for coming on, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you,
John. Thanks for having us, mate. Keep doing what you're doing.
Stay safe.